Security Today. That's right, we're back at it again for another week of the Security Today podcast, brought to you by DoorJam. DoorJam is a convenient tool to prevent doors and gates from closing behind first responders and people and professionals in the trades. It's critical for us as security professionals to keep a high standard of professionalism as we work in sensitive areas for our customers and clients. This means that we don't prop a door with a bucket of pull string or a push broom because, well, that looks like they're currently being hacked or breached. Instead, you can use a device created by DoorJam to show that there is a technician at work and all is well. You can use a discount code. I'm helping you guys out here. ST Podcast on their website at DoorJamm.com and receive 10% off your purchase. So brand your DoorJam with your company's logo, make it a mandatory carry for all of your technicians, and if you ever see me in person, I'll get you a Security Today podcast branded DoorJam that's coveted by millions. Look at this. It's in a bag already, ready to go with some swag stickers. Boom to bat, baby. This is a segment today called Security Dojo. That's right. This segment's designed with an open structure that allows for discovery, discourse, and diligence as we take products and deep dive into these products to make sure we're capturing the whole picture in our industry. This is a part 2, so please go watch part 1. It is the NHP series Hanwha Vision Access IP controller. We've already been over the hardware side, and we will get into more of it today. So, welcome to the dojo. We start out every dojo with a beautiful reminder, and it's the words of Andrew Bunny Huang, the guy who hacked Xboxes. Yeah, that's right. But he said, without the right to tinker and explore, we risk becoming enslaved by technology. And the more we exercise the right to hack, the harder it will be to take that right away. This is the core belief of Security Dojo segment on Security Today podcast. We need to tinker and explore. We need to take the risk of hacking and breaking and displaying everything that we can find, because the more that we do that, the harder it will be for them to take it away. And once they've got it and we can't bust into technologies, then, well, we're living in a world where we're force-fed exactly what they want us to have. And that's not a world that I want to live in. Like I said, this is the part 2, the second part in a 2-part series that we're going over, the Hanwha Vision NHP controller series. Part 1 was all about the hardware. So if you check that out, you'll see a video that you'll get a full breakdown of the feature-rich IP controller from Hanwha Vision. Like I said in my last episode, yes, I am affiliated with them. I'm on the product management team for this product. But all that aside, Hanwha Vision is in no way affiliated with this podcast. Everything I say and do here on these radio waves are solely the opinions and expressions of myself, Bear. And on behalf of the Security Today podcast, they are not affiliated. They didn't even know I was making this, but I couldn't let the first Security Dojo of the year go without really getting into something that I'm very excited about, and that is this NHP IP controller series. Now, what we've gone over in the hardware configuration, I want to deep dive into the software a little bit. The controller comes pre-installed with 2 softwares on it. One's called EntryGuard for standalone applications, and the other is called Cloud Connector, and as its name suggests, it gives you access to OnCafe, their cloud access platform, where you get to experience the full extent of the features and capabilities of Hanwha Access Control. So you get a lot more. I would highly recommend, if you're selling this to a client, licensing is nowhere near the most expensive in the industry, and you're getting the most excellent hardware and software compatibilities. So I would get them on their cloud connector so that they can multi-site, multi-org, try to, have features like first person in, have Gen AI in your scheduling. Like, you want them on that. But all that to say, there is a feature on this that I want to go over today, and that is their EntryGuard software. I'm going to show you a little bit of a treat, because this thing it's nice, right? It's one of my favorite things about, actually, this access controller is, and we're going to demonstrate today how easy it is to get into it, to set it up. Plug and play was taken seriously when it comes to this controller, and I want to show you how simple it is to get up and running. With that we are going to be experiencing the standalone application in these controllers called EntryGuard. This software, you can buy a P100 one-door controller, P200 two-door controller, and midway through the year, you'll be able to get the P400. It's a four-door controller coming up. With EntryGuard, the controller operates license-free and up to however many doors the controller natively supports. So with your small to medium business that want their front door and their side door on access control handled, boom, no mess, no licensing. All interactive from the browser, from setup to maintenance. There's an intuitive setup workflow that I'm actually going to show you for this application today, and I'm excited for you to see it. Now, I want you to remember that OnCafe is the platform, and that you can obviously expand your site way past one or two doors. And if you're doing centralized access control, which they do have in their NOA series that comes in Ultronics troves using Azure boards, you can use that to scale your access control. But today, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. Chancho, let me borrow some sweats because this standalone platform is amazing. So, we're going to start out, and you're going to see the whole thing from start to finish. This is right out of the box that we were going over. It's not even been plugged in, configured, anything like that. This is as if you bought it off the shelf at ADI. And what we're going to do today is we're going to show you exactly what you need to know. So, like most security dojos, we always go to the bench, whether that's virtual or physical. So today we're going to be on the desktop, and I'm going to show you exactly what it takes. So first thing I'm going to do is, let's come back for a second. First thing I'm going to do is plug this in to a network switch with PoE. This network switch is pushing out PoE Plus right now, but as I said in the hardware episode, PoE Plus is recommended for full power capabilities that you can get out of this thing. You need to go watch that before or after, because it's neither here nor there if you started with this episode or if you have already watched the other one. They extend to each other, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is plug this in. Take my patch cable here. I go into my network jack right there. Boom diggity. And as you're going to see the lights come on, the blinky. You've got lights up front. Sorry, it's a little washed out from my lighting. And you've got your network lighting. So that's booting up. That's what we want it to be doing. That'll take a minute to do. As it does that, let's come over to the desktop, and I'm going to show you a little bit how to get started. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my WiseNet Device Manager. This is a software that you can get offline off of the Hanwha Vision Access Control, or Hanwha Vision's website. It doesn't come with the access control or anything like that. It's something that you need to know. So the first thing I want to show is the device manager, and it looks for all Hanwha products on your network. Obviously, you can see I've got some cameras here. I've got the special P400 and a P100 and P200. What you would do is probably open this up. There would be nothing in this menu. And then you would come click search. And when you click search, it's going to go out onto the network and it's going to look for it. As you can see here, we know we're ready to go because I've got, man, that doesn't want to flush. And I can't look at my patch cable. Pull it tight. I have my host light in red, my status light in green, and my network light is blinking, meaning it's ready to configure and set up. So that's what you're looking for with your lights. We go back and we can see that here is our NHP 200. It's got a little question mark next to it because it needs a password. Like all Hanwha access control devices, when you first get them on your network, you find out that, well, they need a password to get into them. So you can do a couple things here in the WiseNet device manager. I could log into it from the device manager, and I can see my status, the name, the IP mode, the IP, the MAC address, my host name, my serial number, and I can reset it. I can do a lot of things from this device manager. So it's good to have on a server if you've got, Hanwha devices you can remote in, and you can kind of do a little bit of troubleshooting without needing to get on site. But we're going to go to the P200, and I'm going to double click on that. It's going to come up and say, hey, your connection isn't private. I know, just It's not as unsafe as you think. Is this Chrome? Is that Chrome? Or is that Firefox? That's Chrome. Okay. So I come here and I create, now I'm into my NHP 200. I'm going to create a password for it. And I hit apply. Apply the changes. Not now. And now it wants me to sign in. My name is admin, and I put my new password in just like that. Boom diggity, I'm into my NHP controller. Now right off the bat, we start with our tree over here. This is if you've ever logged into a Hanwha device, this is exactly what they all look like. So what we have here is our basic system information. So our model number, serial number, we've got our network information here. We've got our host information. You can see that it says cloud mode running. Okay, so they come ready to run on OnCafe software. And just a quick glance, if we logged into this once it was configured, we can see our readers. If our readers are online or offline, our DPSs, our flex inputs, which you need to go watch the hardware episode to understand what's going on there. And then, yeah, controller tamper, even our two normal outputs here too. And we can scroll down and see recent events that have happened, whether that's access to the system, our system information. So we can see here that, like, yeah, look, I changed my password. And we can go to event, okay? So, and these are the events that happen. Now, you'll notice that it went into door forced because when this opens, or when it logs in for the first time, our DPS comes normally closed, and it's open when it powers up, right? So it thinks that it forced the door. That's all configurable in the software, and I'll show you that. So don't fear. We have our users here. We can change our password. We can add users to the NHP controller. We've got date and time. This is the first stop that you're going to want to make on all the Hanwha devices that you get into. And you want to come here and make sure that you're on the right date and time. So we are -6 Central America, because I'm down in Bolivia this week. No, I don't even know if that's accurate. Central Time, US, Canada. It'll change it to that. I'll come here. I'll synchronize with NTP server because I don't want my time to change. And then we're good to go. So, success. You got your IP and port information, your network information. So sometimes this might matter to you if you're IP filtering, or if you need certificate management for the IT team or anything like that. You have your host communication, which we come here, we can see our mode is in cloud, which means it's running the cloud connector software, and we can switch it to standalone. I'll show you that in just a second, but I want to go through this just a little bit more. So here's the product information. And then we have an upgrade and restart. So we can upgrade manually software if I want to load it into here and upgrade it. Or if I want to factory default it, I can do it here also. Or I can just back it up, restore it, or just restart the whole machine from logging into it from the this browser platform. And then we go to open platform, and this is where we can see the open applications that are running on the NHP controller. Here we have Entry Guard, and we have our cloud connector. It'll show you the install date. Obviously, this wasn't installed in 1999, but it'll show you when that was installed and what version you're running. This is actually, I think, an old cloud connector version, and it'll show you if it's running or not. So this is installed, this is running. This just gives you a little bit more information. But if we go to host communication for a second, is where we're going to want to land, and we click on standalone, we're going to say yes, change to standalone, and now it is rebooting it in standalone mode, okay? And we're going to be using the Entry Guard software, and I'll walk you through that. This is one of the things that I think I've always appreciated Hanwha for, is, for instance, they have one-time licensing in their WiseNet Wave NVR application, VMS application. So you can buy a license to a camera, and then you just have that license. If you get rid of the camera, you still retain the license. It's not that subscription-based modeling where I have to pay every single month or my cameras all go offline or I can't have access to them, some sort of that. It's an anti-lockout kind of mode. And your access controller can operate in kind of the same vein in that you can put it as standalone and you don't need licenses to keep it up and running. So that option is always available. I would encourage you, obviously, to use OnCafe, but there have been plenty of smaller shops, right? And this is hard. As an integrator, you get into these areas where it's like it's a bakery or it's a church or it's something that is small. They have a very small budget, but they want security and they have a right to security. So it's good that they're hunting that down. And sometimes you have to work within those constraints. Well, one of the ways to do that is that you can buy the NHP IP series controllers and you can build them an access control system that's ran standalone. Most of the customers that are going to fall into that category, all they want is for it maybe to be open on a schedule, or they just want to be able to hand out credentials and, badge the door, beep, click, the lock unlocks, and they can get in. So that's where it really fits. And the nice thing is if you're selling them it for standalone mode, they're probably not needing a feature-rich environment. They just need to keep the door locked, be able to get in when they badge, and this is a perfect example for that. So now we're back to our controller. So now it's in standalone mode. We can check that in host communications. Boom. All right. So now what we do is when it's in standalone mode, you can see standalone, go to app. So we're going to click go to app. Now when we go to the app, it's going to introduce us into a brand new intuitive workflow for our entry guard standalone software. Now, we're working with a two-door controller, so it wants us to set up door names for both doors. So we come in here, we say, yeah, this is going to be the front door. This is going to be the back door. And now we click next. Here we come into reader port 1 and reader port 2. This is going to be reader port 1 for our front door, reader port 2 for our back door, and you can see here that we can change a lot just even in our standalone mode. We have OSDP or weekend. We can choose a baud rate if you really care about that. You can put it into secure mode, and you can see that port 1 reader 0 and port 1 reader 1, because if you're running OSDP, you can daisy chain and we can have a read in read out situation, right? Or we can come here and when changing to weekend, settings may be changed. Do you want to change this mode? Confirm. Yeah, we want to go to weekend. Now we just see it's basic bullshit weekend. You shouldn't be putting that on your freaking thing anyway. But you can see that if we go to reader port 2, we're still in OSDP. So you can choose what you want to do for each reader port out. So yeah, let's come here. We're going to say, yeah, we want both in OSDP, and that's fine, the baud rate, everything like that. Now we're going to get a choose. So if you're doing a takeover and let's say the cable is trimmed, the wires are trimmed real short, and they can't quite reach, 2 inches, right? They can't quite reach like across to this one for reader 2, but we want to put it in reader 1. You actually have the options to assign what you want here. So I can come into reader in for front door. I need it to be port 2, right? Reader 0. Or I can keep it as port 1, reader 1. And then I can change my DPS, my flex inputs, my auxiliary input could be my door position sensor for the front door if I wanted. You can really start to get custom on this in those weird offhand situations that something isn't working the way you want it to. There's a lot more options here. And this is, of course, true of their cloud platform as well, but you can see that we want to assign hardware here. We can click on hardware schematic and boom, we get that beautiful wiring guide that was already in the box that we pulled out. But if you're setting them up and I need to remember what that is, I threw the box away, boom, you're right here. It'll give you the wiring guide for everything that you need to know. Okay, so man, that's handy. Damn. Okay, so let's say that we assign everything we want to right there. We click next. We can go from front door to back door, as you can see. So now we're at door properties. We get to choose our grant time. We get to choose that it unlocks door on request to exit. Monitor for door held open for 16 seconds, and then trigger the reader buzzer if it's held open. You can do all of these things from these properties. So let's not monitor anything right quick, and we're going to pretend that it's a strike and we don't have a request to exit or anything, but our grant time is, let's say, 4 seconds. So we'll go through with that. Next, we come to our schedule. The beauty of it is there's multiple schedules here that we can start to create. So let's say we want to add a schedule. This is new schedule. I can come in here and change the name. We're going to say, like, I don't know, this is the night shift because we have a night shift. And then we're going to say on Monday from, they come in super early at 12:30 to, let's say, 5 a.m. And I can click and drag, or I can click individually, whatever it be. And that's a weekly thing. On Mondays, I have a night shift that comes in from 1 to 5 in the morning, and that's that. If I scroll down here, you see I can come over to, and it's in military time, so you know where you're putting it on your calendar, and obviously active or inactive. And I can clear the schedule if I didn't really want that. So we're going to call that night shift. Boom diggity. We're going to click save. All right, now we have our night shift. We go to the next thing, and now we can assign those schedules that we've created to our unlock schedules on our front and back door. So the night shift actually uses the back door. So I'll come in to the front door. We'll click this open, and we'll just say, weekdays is the front door. That's fine. But on the back door, I need you to put in my night shift because that's when they use that one. And we click to next, and there we are. So now, as I clicked this is what comes in. I'll start here. We come into our dashboard. So this is our standalone. You can come in here and bookmark this so that they can come in and work on their access control system anytime they want. Like I said, license free. So you see we have a door forced open because if you remember, you can configure the outputs in here to be normally open or normally closed, and they come configured to be normally closed. And since there's nothing wired to it, it thinks that we forced the door. So it's giving you an alarm right off the bat that we have a door forced. The system is not an alarm, which we can schedule it to become an alarm if we need, and no doors being held open currently. We can come to history if we click this, and it'll show us where those door forced opens happened. So that's kind of how that works. Now it thinks it's 4:05 p.m. I had to reset the controller because I didn't factory reset it correctly, so I had already done that intuitive workflow, but I wanted you to see it, so I didn't reset the time, so it thinks that it's off time. But now that we clicked on it and we viewed it, it's like, okay, it's not an alarm anymore. You can see our flex inputs and out and our auxiliary input, and it'll tell you what the history is there. Obviously, our front door is on weekdays. Okay, so we put that schedule on our front door, and we put the back door to night shift, and now you can see that it's open because of a schedule. So it'll be locked from midnight to 9 a.m. and 6 to midnight. Today, it'll be locked, but right now, it's open. Our back door is locked from midnight to midnight, because our night shift is on Mondays. I'm not recording this on a Monday. But as you can see in my back door, and we have here, this out light is on because that door is powered if we want it in 24 volts. So it's got 24 volts coming out of that to power our strike and keep it open, right? And you can see on this side, this is our back door. So if I come in here and I click unlock, boom, that light comes on, and 4 seconds later, it clicks off normally. But I have it monitored for door held. So I'm like, oh, wait, no, that's not working right. Okay, I'll come into my settings. See how real time this is? Don't you love it? And I come down to my door properties. It's being monitored for door held and door force. So it's looking for that DPS relay to close again, right? And I don't need it to unlock on exit. And then I can click apply and confirm those changes. And now it applies. And as you can see, that light is off now. So if I come back to my live view and I click unlock, now it's going to trigger that light on, and then that light is going to come off at 4 seconds. And we're getting live events right here to see. So this dashboard can sit up on your secretary's desk or the CEO back at wherever they're seated or whatever like that. You can put it into lockdown. You can release lockdown. We've got total card holders and active card holders here. And this dashboard just gives you a lot of information right off the bat. Next, we're going to go into card holders. This is where you create your card holders. So you can click add. It comes in here. Oh, yes, this is Bear. And never going to give you my middle name, and you'll have to find this. My employee ID. If you're not first, you're last. Number 1. Activation date, you can choose when it's activated, obviously, and a deactivation date if you don't want it to expire. You can put them into their card holder group, add additional access levels, and then we can start to add our credential based off of our card, right? Or we can create them a PIN. You can even come in here and get a photo. Let's see what we got. Let's see. Hold on. Let's go to downloads. Look at this, gentlemen. This is, oh, that file size is too large. Okay, fine. That's fine. Sorry. Yeah, so you can put all of that into your employee. And then when it's done, you can come in here and click apply, confirm. And now I have Bear. You'll have to find this. So you have cardholder groups, and you can manage your credentials from here also. You can import them if you need to. Then we come over to access, right? This is our schedules, which we've created several schedules. Here's our custom one, and these are the default schedules that come with it. You've got access levels, right? So your base, your admin, your manager, stuff like that can run off of different schedules, whatever it be. Obviously, here's our hardware. This is everything that we kind of set up in that intuitive workflow when we started, but I'm just showing you now you can access it also when you get into the browser. You have your door configuration, which is where we were to make sure we weren't monitoring that one, so I could show you that. And event monitoring. You can come in here and monitor all the events that you want. Like, I don't need to know if it was denied on an invalid PIN, or I need to know if the door's opened or the door's closed. I just want to know who's badging. So I don't know why you would want that, but you can come in and do whatever you need. And then you can have these event to actions, right? So if I want to add an event to action, let's say a common one is let's network failure. Let's see if this works actually. So I come to my event trigger, and then I have all of these event triggers, right, that are built in. So let's see if we can find access denied. Okay, it's not gonna door held, door cleared. I've not been in this section before, so I'm just door input trouble Rex. Okay, let's say that it's the case cover tamper. All right, we'll call this our tamper. Okay, and then we come for our event to action. We can alarm output 1, alarm output 2, do a lockdown. We can, or if there's another event, we can release a lockdown. We can unlock a door. We can do a lot, especially with our outputs, right? So that output could go to a strobe, a horn, stuff like that. And then let's say alarm output 1, and I only want this event to action to, only want that tamper to set an alarm off on the weekdays when someone's there who can clear it or something like that. And you can add these event to actions. Now look, that's basic, right? But this isn't the licensed on cloud platform. that has a lot more features with your automations that you can create it to do. But these are just event to actions that already come pre-installed on a license-free standalone access control. I can't get over that, man. It just excites my heart. You can come to reports up here in the top. We can do card holder activity, door events, system events, those sort of things. You can come in here and say, let's say there was a time change. We don't need that. We don't need that. Or an open, I just want to look for these things. I'm looking between this date and I want to view the result. So if I click view the result, it comes up and here is my system event, right? And I can export that to a PDF. Boom. Turn it in. And then I'm going to come to setup. This is just your system setup. So your version, if you want to see the open source license, that's fine. Email configuration. So I can set my email here to make sure that I'm getting indications or notifications. And I can come in just like we were looking at when we logged into the back end of it. You can factory reset, you can back it up, and you can restore it if anything ever happens. And that's it, guys. That is it. This is your NHP series Hanwha Vision controller. This puppy is a game changer, bro. It's just a game changer. I know there's IP controllers out there. I know that some of them can do standalone, that sort of thing. But you got to understand that it's prettier. It comes with better features. Now I'm being biased because obviously I work on it. But it is sincerely a killer IP controller solution, and I think you should be using it. So this is EntryGuard, their standalone access control software that comes already preloaded on your NHP series controllers. That's it for our first security dojo of the year for the Hanwha Vision NHP series IP controller. I hope that it's good information. I want to know feedback, okay? Not just feedback on like that IP controller does look dope. Yeah, I know that. Or, I've used it in this situation or that situation. But I also want to know feedback on Security Dojo. Is this the type of thing that you're wanting to see? Like on the bench, on the desktop, breaking down of products. And then I need you to send me actual DMs, send me actual comments that say, do this product if you want to see it on Security Dojo. Because then I snapshot that and I take it to the company that makes the product and I go, hey, people want to see this on this podcast. Can you send me something that I can, break down and go over? Because this podcast is for you, right? This podcast keeps me sharp. It keeps me skilled in presenting, in communication. It keeps me skilled in writing because I write a lot of my stuff. It keeps me skilled in the industry, needing to know news and highlights that are coming out. But mainly it's for you. It's for you to dig in for a half hour to an hour, depending on what segment's being played, and better yourself and get those 10,000 hours into mastery so that you can become a better technician, be the better tech. That's the whole point of getting things like this on the Security Dojo. So please send me feedback, follow, subscribe, send this to your friends. Be like, hey, did you see this controller? Look at this podcast, this, and the other. Get them to follow, and then tell your mom that you're doing better because you are doing better because you're listening to this. So I really appreciate you guys. Don't forget this podcast is brought to you by Door Jam. Please get some Door Jams and use ST Podcast, so you don't have to pay full price. And if you see me in public, you can get one of these. And I'm going to ISC. I'll be at ISC all week, obviously for Hanwha, so I'll have a Hanwha shirt on. But you can come find me at the Hanwha booth, or if you see me walking around, I'm bringing a backpack. I'll have some of these to give out. I would love to shake hands. You get to see me every week, and I understand. I would want to also, but I don't get to see you. And so at events like this where you know that you're going to be in the vicinity of the bear, please, if you see me, just be like, hey, I listen to your podcast. I really like it. That's enough for me to be like, awesome, dude. What do you do? What, this and that and the other. And even when it comes to the product management side of working for Hanwha, one of the things that we try to do as a product management team is get feedback from end users and integrators. So if this is something that you use, please reach out, because then I can sit down with you and be like, hey, tell me about how the experience has been. And those are all things that are going to shape the best access control in the market. I'm telling you, in 2 to 5 years, when we really have this thing built out, it will be the best access control on the market. And I know that because I know the team that's working behind it. And now you kind of know the team that's working behind it. But reach out to me, let me know, and I really appreciate you guys. We will see you next week on the Security Today podcast.